Scooby-Doo was meant to be a goofy show about a talking dog and some teens solving mysteries. But somewhere between the running away from danger and Scooby snacks, things got way darker than you might remember. In today's video, we'll be taking a deep dive into Scooby-Doo's darkest episodes. Some Scooby-Doo episodes are spooky, but this one's different. What makes it dark isn't the monsters, it's that people create them. Starting with one of the strangest and, honestly, most uncomfortably funny episodes in the series, The Horrible Herd. In Season 2, Episode 17, Crystal Cove's corporate giant Destroido Corp., the town's most powerful company, was experimenting with a strange crystal energy buried beneath the city. Under Professor Pericles, the company decided to push biology past its limits. This is the one where science asks, what if cows, piranhas, and bees had a baby? And somehow everyone at Mystery Incorporated says, sure, why not? The result? A herd of six-legged, hornet-striped, piranha-toothed skeletal cows. Half science experiment, half nightmare. Instead, Professor Pericles made a genetic stampede with the goal to destroy Crystal Cove. When the containment field failed, the creatures broke loose. Hundreds of them, tearing through the lab and straight for town. Cars crushed, power lines snapping, the streets filled with bone-white shadows and red light. Nothing seems to be able to stop the swarm. Then, Fred sees the Queen. Bigger, louder, the center of the chaos. Fred's plan was simple. Get her out and the rest will follow. They hooked the Queen to a helicopter and lifted her over the cliffs, the entire herd stampeding beneath them. For a moment it worked. Then, Professor Pericles fired a missile at the chopper, sending Nova, Scooby's girlfriend, tumbling out. Fred had to choose, keep the Queen or save his friends. He cut the line. The Queen fell into the ocean, and the herd followed her right off the cliff.
I feel a little sorry for those skull cattle. It's not their fault they're horrible genetically engineered mutations.
Moments later, they all swam away. What do you expect being part piranha?
Whoa, what have we done?
You mean like other than release unnatural super predators into the ecosystem?
And that's when everything shifts. The monsters aren't under the masks anymore. They're behind the microscopes. It's clever, it's wild, and it's just a little too real. Because when science starts playing Scooby-Doo, the real mystery isn't what's chasing you, or it's what you've created. That's what makes The Horrible Herd so dark. It isn't a ghost story. It's a story about humanity playing God. The monsters aren't under the masks anymore. They're behind the microscopes. If The Horrible Herd showed how far science could go, Through the Curtain shows what happens when faith and myth go even further. After The Horrible Herd, Crystal Cove should have stopped messing with the unknown. But in true Scooby-Doo fashion, things only got weirder. Because right after science tried to rewrite life, something ancient decided to rewrite reality. That brings us to Season 2, Episode 25, Through the Curtain. This episode takes the gang underground, literally. They discover a vast network of tunnels beneath Crystal Cove carved with symbols that look more like a ritual than a map. As they move deeper, Velma realizes the passages form a massive circle, split into 4 gates: air, earth, fire, and water. Each gate has its own key, and each key connects to a larger pattern, a kind of ancient lock buried beneath the town. If opened, it would lead straight to the source of every mystery in Crystal Cove. The show doesn't even try to hide its inspiration here. The imagery feels straight out of the occult. Ancient sigils, symbols that look like they belong in a temple, not a cartoon. The gang isn't just solving mysteries anymore, they're walking through one. And waiting for them behind that final gate is the truth about Crystal Cove itself. That's when we meet the real power behind everything, the evil entity. Trapped inside a crystal sarcophagus, the entity is described as an ancient being from another dimension, the most dangerous of the Anunnaki, a race of higher beings connected to the stars. According to the show, every few thousand years, an event called Nibiru weakens the barrier between worlds, allowing the Anunnaki to cross over. This one brings the end. The entity feeds on chaos and people. It's pure destruction given form, a force that wants to consume worlds, starting with Crystal Cove. And through cryptic visions and symbols, it begins whispering to those who will free it. everything. The disappearances, the monsters, even the crystal energy Destroido was using, ties back to this one thing beneath the town. Velma connects the dots. Each elemental gate represents a trial, a spiritual test to unlock the entity's prison. Air, earth, water, fire. What sounds like a magic riddle for kids suddenly turns into something that feels like a ritual sacrifice. And it's all happening in a Scooby-Doo episode. The symbolism in Mystery Incorporated doesn't seem accidental. The writers fill Crystal Cove with names pulled straight from real-world mythologies. It feels deliberate, almost like the show is crossing a line that children's cartoons were never meant to cross. Gone are the harmless crooks in masks. Now we see worship, sacrifice, and an ancient power described in the language of demons. Whether meant as storytelling or something more, Mystery Incorporated invites its audience to stare directly into the occult. It's a creative risk that leaves parents asking a hard question. Why did a cartoon built on laughter start speaking the language of ritual and prophecy? As the gang passes through the final gate, the air grows red, the ground glows, and time itself starts to distort. They realize they're not just uncovering a mystery, they're unlocking it. And what's waiting on the other side is something that doesn't belong in any Saturday morning cartoon. Because the next episode doesn't just test the gang, it tests reality itself. That's what makes Through the Curtain so dark. It's not about ghosts or monsters. It's about a children's show diving headfirst into the language of ritual, prophecy, and the occult. It's where Scooby-Doo stops unmasking villains and starts unmasking faith itself. And here's where the darkness finally shows its face. Everything the gang's done, every clue, every chase, has led to the end of the world. Season 2, Episode 26, Come Undone. Everything that's been building finally reaches the surface. The 4 gates open, and the gang steps through the last one, straight into the crystal chamber where the evil entity has been imprisoned for centuries. The scene looks nothing like a kid's cartoon. It's glowing red. The floor cracks open like veins of light, and from the crystal sarcophagus you hear it, a whisper that sounds alive. The entity promises everything. Power, answers, truth. It calls itself the oldest thing in existence. A creature that once shaped worlds and then devoured them. It tells them it's one of the Anunnaki, except this one isn't divine. It's corruption itself, the one even the others had to seal away. And this is the part that is the most shocking. Velma realizes the sarcophagus was never meant to be opened. That everything from Destroido's experiments to the monsters and symbols was all connected, all guiding them here. But before they can stop it, the evil entity begins to break free. It possesses Professor Pericles, twisting his mind into something inhuman. And through him, the entity speaks, promising a new world born from destruction. It's chaos made conscious. Reality itself starts to collapse. Buildings sink into the earth. The ground turns to crystal. The people of Crystal Cove vanish one by one, as if rewritten by the energy they once tried to control. The gang stands together in the chamber, knowing this might be the end. And they're right. This time, there's no mask to pull off. In one final moment, Scooby realizes what must be done. They have to work together as a team and destroy the crystal sarcophagus. Almost at the face of death, they are able to defeat the evil entity. The screen flashes white, then silence. Everything is reset. Crystal Cove is normal again. The monsters are gone. No one remembers, but the gang does. They look around and realize they're the only ones who remember what happened. The only ones who know how close the world came to ending. It's as if time itself folded back to erase the damage, but left the truth behind. And that's where Mystery Incorporated ends. A cartoon that started with unmasking criminals closes with an apocalypse rewritten by a talking dog. It's haunting, brilliant, and completely baffling. The kind of ending that leaves you smiling, then staring at your screen, wondering, what did I just watch? And that's what makes Come Undone so dark. It's the end of the world that hits hardest. A children's show that began with laughter ends with the trauma of memory. the cost of knowing too much. The world resets, but the scars stay. Behind every mask was greed, jealousy, or someone who just really needed therapy. So yeah, the real mystery isn't who the monster is. It's why this show was allowed to air before breakfast. If you made it this far, hit subscribe and click on the next video. Because reliving childhood trauma through cartoons is cheaper than therapy and way more entertaining.